Okay.
Not seeing it yet, but should be getting there. Looks like we got 5 people waiting. Probably.
So if you're joining us and you're not really sure, you've heard of this word, but you don't know what it is.
I don't think there's anything.
Okay.
Not really either.
Stephen, are you?
That art thing I need to get started on.
Okay.
Go grab the sketchbook that I use. That I use for art.
I think I can see it now. Okay. The group, I can't. Tim asks. Okay. All right. Elaine says she can hear us now. Hi, Tim. I think this will answer your question here in just a moment. So thank you for your patience. We are here this afternoon to talk about Clever. My name is Kathleen Receiver, and I'm joined today by our colleagues in IT3. I have Stephen Durham with us, who works with the Zone 3 Elementary. And also
Hello, everyone.
I thought you said I said the wrong zone. I was like, oh. And then we also have Henry with us, who is working behind the scenes and helps with all of our Clever questions and make sure that it is working correctly. So thank you so much, Henry, for joining us this afternoon. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to access and sign into Clever, as well as how you can create your own individual teacher pages inside of Clever for your kids to access. And we're going to learn how to add different apps, as well as links or websites, and also how you can personalize each of these teacher pages, as well as a few more tips for you today. So if you're wondering what is Clever, some of you may have seen Clever show up, or you've heard of other people talking about it. Clever is a one-stop shop that will house all of the school's education apps for their students. So education apps and websites for the school, for individual teachers. And also when kids log into Clever with their JCPS email and password, they're going to have immediate access to these learning apps. And while we were waiting a few minutes ago, Tim in the chat, I saw that he asked, is Clever similar to Symbaloo? And that's a great question. I love Symbaloo. I used it in the classroom, and no, it's different because when a student signs into Clever, they automatically have access to apps, whereas Symbaloo is a place to organize different websites. Clever is a place where you can organize your websites for kids to get to, but if they require a login like BrainPop or Study Island, the kids will automatically be logged in. So a little bit different, and we're going to go in and show you how to get there, as well as answer some more questions. So what we're going to do first is, how do you access Clever? There's a couple different ways that we can access Clever. If you're using the Chrome browser, you should see a JCPS quick links folder on your bookmark bar. And it has a little folder and it says JCPS quick links. When I click on that as a teacher, I can see the backpack as well as Clever right here. You can also access our JCPS digital learning channel from there. So there's a quick plug there for you. But you can click on Clever from here. Now, if you do not see this bar with your bookmarks, don't stress. You can come all the way over here to the right side, and we have 3 dots. I like to call those our snowman, or some people might say hot dogs. If you click on that and go down to bookmarks, you want to make sure that that show bookmark bar is checked. So mine is grayed out, meaning that it's defaulted to be checked, but sometimes, depending on the type of computer you're using, you may need to check that. I also know that I'm signed into my JCPS account because when I click on my picture here, it tells me that this is my account, my email address. All right, so just a quick tip that may help you in the long run. But if that still doesn't work, it's okay, because you can go to our JCPS homepage, and from there, students can click on students, employees can click on employees, and we know where that login page is. So under logins, in alphabetical order, you will see Clever. So those are the 2 ways that you can access Clever. Now, if you just do a simple Clever search and try to log in that way, it will not work. So we have our own address for accessing Clever in JCPS. So make sure, if you catch what I said, when we're finished today, you can rewind it and you have the power of pause to watch it again.
So teachers, if you're getting questions from students saying, or parents saying, I can't get on Clever at home, one of the first things you might want to ask is, well, how are you getting to Clever? And make sure they're getting to Clever the proper way. So they're getting to the JCPS version.
Yes, absolutely. And so once you find Clever, you should get to a page that looks like this. So also, like Stephen said, you can ask, do they see Jefferson County School District at the top? Because they should. Okay, this is the correct page. And we're going to log in today using Google. If your students or your child went home with a Clever badge, they could click over here, but most probably didn't have time to prepare for that with the NTI. So we're going to click on Login with Google. Now mine is going to go directly in because I've logged in before. But if you or a student has never logged in, you're going to have to click on, you're going to have to type your email address twice, just like you do when checking your email. And then you're going to type your password. So once you type that password, you're going to come to a screen like this. So we are teachers. So we're going to click on log in as a teacher. I did have a question emailed to me yesterday that Stephen and I hadn't mentioned yet. So great question. If I accidentally click on login as a staff, they wanted to know how I could get back out. So if you click on login as a staff for right now, and Henry, you can jump in if I'm incorrect, but I believe for right now, you need to sign out of Clever and then sign back in and log in as a teacher. Donna Hedges is with us in the chat right now. Thank you, Donna, for she's also one of our colleagues with IT3. And she told me that that's the one way that we can do it that we know of for now, is just to log out and log back in. Logging in as a staff is for the admin of Clever at your school. So that could be your STC or maybe a principal or someone else that has been designated.
And Donna and Henry are the ones that help get Clever set up for our district. And it is rostered based on Infinite Campus. So they kind of know if you're a teacher, if you have students. If for some reason you're trying to sign into Clever, you believe you should have a Clever account, you have students rostered to you, and you're unable to get in, maybe you're one of those that slipped through the cracks, and they can certainly add you if this is something that you need to use. So you would go to the jcps.me/NTI site, click on technical assistance, and write down your Clever issue, and it'll probably get directed to them.
Yes, and I apologize. I didn't show that. Stephen, here we go. jcps.me/NTI. This is that site that he was talking about. So you have the technical support right here, as well as the teacher toolkit and a student and parent toolkit. So make sure you check this out as updates come out for Clever or Google or anything. We are trying to keep it updated for you. So make sure you check back here for those updates, as well as our YouTube channel. All right. So now I'm logged into Clever, and you can see that as a teacher, I have right now, if you've never signed in before, I have 2 pages. So I have a page that says just you, and it's only visible to me, as well as a district page. And I have 7 resources that are here, and it tells me that those are shared by my district. Now, up at the top, I have 4 tabs that we're going to talk about today. Down here at the bottom is an add tab. So what we're going to show you first is how you add a teacher page. So if I am a 2nd grade teacher, I can click on the add button and go to this green circle page. It's very user friendly to see. I get a thumbs up that I've successfully created this new page. I can rename my page by clicking in the white box at the top, as well as give that page a description. If I have several pages, I may want to write something there. You can change and personalize this picture. So our elementary teachers, we like to do that. You can click there and just choose and click save, or you can upload your own picture. Oh, sorry, that's the header that turned purple. My bad. I can make a purple kangaroo. There we go. And then down here, it's saying, welcome to your new page. You don't have any resources yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to that green add button, and I have 3 options. I can add a category, a link, or an app. Before I get started, I think I'm going to go ahead and add a category here. And once you add it, it tells you you've been successful. Here again, I can give that category a name. I'm going to name that reading. And notice over here, if I messed up, I can click the X and delete, as well as arrows to move that category up and down if I have several. And now that I have reading, I'm going to click on add. And the first thing I want to add is a link. I have a teacher website that has a lot of resources in it, but my link to get to that website is super long, or if you're like me, it's my last name and it's spelled really crazy. I can add that link. You can right click and paste it, or Command V and paste it, or Control V and paste your link here. I can give it a name for my 2nd graders, our class page. And then I can even select a category. So if I have several categories here, maybe I want that under reading. I'm going to make sure to select that. And once again, I can choose an icon that is provided for me, or I could even upload my own picture. I'm going to click on the books since I'm doing for reading, and I'm going to add that link. So now notice I've been successful. I like how it tells me that what I did worked. I think that's helpful for us. Now I have a reading link here, and this is going to go directly to my class website. But if you don't have a website like a Google site, you don't want to be fancy with that. You just want to add maybe a Google Doc or a Google Slide. Remember, a Google Doc and a Google Slide, those are essentially websites. They have a link. So if you make just a Google Doc with several different websites or resources that you want your younger students to access, you could type those on that Google Doc, and then you could just simply paste that Google Doc link here, and your kids would be able to access it when they sign into Clever.
So this might be a great thing if your school has like a school website that you want the kids to use, or your librarian has your school's library site. You could have the STC put that out there for your school. So all the students, when they go in, those are some sites that they can get to. Yes. And the STC, or if it's not the STC, a lot of times it might be a school administrator that has access to the Clever admin side. They could add that. And also, Stephen, I believe they could put a ticket in as well. Is that correct? They can, yes. And you could use that. I would use right now, since the phone lines are busy, lots of people needing lots of technical support right now, I would go to that NTI site and go ahead and submit the form. And another way to get there also, if you forget that, is jcps.me/help. And that will take you there. And there's actually for parent, student, and for an employee. So you would put in employee and just say, hey, I'm not in touch with my STC right now, and I'd like to get this Clever app pushed out for all our students at Klondike Elementary, for example. Yep. You got it. So now that I've added a link here, I also know that, man, we use iRead a lot. So I want to see if I can go to app and type in iRead.
When I do, I notice nothing comes up. And actually, we learned earlier in the week from Donna that right now iRead is not available through Clever at the moment. So that's why I'm using this as an example. But if you type an app or something that your school has purchased, a software your school has purchased, and it doesn't show up, that's also where you need to place a ticket. So our colleagues can take a look at that app and see what information they need from the company to get that added if it is possible. All right.
So basically, JCPS now has Clever, and then we have people, Henry and Donna, who are working with Clever, and we can say, hey, we have schools that are using IXL, and they would like to use IXL with Clever, or iRead with Clever, and then Henry and Donna will work with Clever to see if we can make that happen. So we're building it as we go. So if there's something your school needs, things would be great on the Clever page, by all means, submit that ticket, and Henry and Donna will be able to help us out with that.
Yes. And also something else that Donna told me this morning as a workaround is if you are a special area teacher in elementary, maybe you're a librarian or computer lab or art, music, whichever, and you want to add a page for all of your students. Some of you have received an error when trying to do that. So I want to make sure you know how to fix that. So if you log into Clever and you create this page, over on the left side, there's a button that says Edit Student Sharing. So notice right now my teacher page is only accessible to me. So I need to click on that Edit Student Sharing, and this pops up. Who do I want to have access? So for the regular classroom teacher, you could do, if you're an elementary teacher, all students you teach, because that could be anywhere from 24 to maybe, hopefully not 30 students, 27 students. But if you are teaching several different classes, you're going to want to click on this one or more classes link and then hit the drop down and choose which class the class you want to assign this to. So in Infinite Campus, if you have 18 different classes, it's my understanding, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, that those will show up right here. So you can have separate pages for all of those classes, because obviously you may need different resources for each of the classes.
Because we had like librarians who are like, I teach over 100 students. Well, Clever caps out for a teacher classroom size of 100. So what you can basically do is you want to be able to, you would look for there, for example, all the 4th grade teachers, all the 3rd grade teachers, you can add them, and then they will have access to your page. Exactly. Are we speaking correctly on that? Because I know we just kind of learned this information recently. Henry, does that sound good?
So we have a response from our Clever rep that we have some sort of workaround, or he's not calling it a workaround, but it's a new feature to where the people with, I guess, the classes over 100 can still get the same experience.
Okay. And so it'd be basically using that where they just say, I have this page and it can be accessed by all these teachers at my school. Okay, great.
Got it.
And that's been the exciting thing about this NTI process, like with Google Classroom, Google Meet, with Clever, that analytics tab wasn't there 2 days ago. So technology is constantly changing, especially during this time.
Absolutely. And also, while we're talking about new things, if you try to sign into Clever and you get an error, or if you sign in and your classes aren't showing up correctly, for teachers, again, that is something that you need to put in a ticket for. And then our friends over, Donna and our friends, will be able to help get that taken care of for you. Okay. So if I click on back, I'm back on my homeroom tab again. So now you see Miss Receiver's kindergarten class right here, and I've shared one resource. So I'm going to move on to the Just You page. I'm going to click on that. The Just You page is meant for a place for teachers to explore different apps before they assign them to students. So just like we want to check out a website or a video or anything we're going to give students first, this is a place where you can do that. And if I click on library, I can browse different apps that are by subject level or grade level, even most popular, as well as all resources. So if I click on K through 2, for example, when I scroll down, it says most popular in grades K through 2 for your district. So these are showing different apps that have already been installed and are being used in JCPS. So I think that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to show that. And then also you can browse by subject again. And if I find one that I think that I want my kids to use, like I love KidBlog, for example, I'm going to click on KidBlog. And I'm going to scroll down. I can look to see teacher reviews. I can kind of scroll around and see, what is KidBlog exactly. And as I keep going down, notice this is a free trial, but there are, you do have to pay to upgrade it to premium. So remember that when you're looking at these apps, they're not all going to be free. You may get some of the parts of it for free, and then they catch you and they want you to buy their product because it's really good, or maybe not. But just know that you can scroll down and kind of check out that information. Also, I like this teacher usage. So 19 teachers in our district are using it, and almost 2,000 teachers overall that use Clever are using KidBlog. I can click on install, and then the upgrade to KidBlog, that's where they're going to ask for that money. So I'm going to click on install. And once I click install, it's going to ask me, where do you want to install it? So if I have several different classes, maybe I only want KidBlog for my K through 2 classes. I can click allow and continue. And now it's going to take me to KidBlog, where I'm going to sign up with my teacher sign up and give them that information. But if I go back to my homeroom, now I can see that under Miss Receiver's kindergarten page, I have that reading my link to my website here, and also KidBlog. And I think this is a great time to show you what it looks like from a student's perspective. I've received permission from our colleague Danielle Washburn to use her daughter's site. And so you can see as a student, I think it's important, I think it's important for teachers to be able to see what their students see. And that's why we want to show you this today. You can see that she has 2 different teacher pages. So she has her special area page and then her kindergarten teachers page. District applications. Now, this is something we haven't mentioned yet, Stephen. With the district applications, the district can push out different apps such as Study Island or Edmentum if they are available and approved. But also the schools, like we said, can push out different apps. So for Alana's school, they've chosen to push out BrainPop Junior, and this Pathblazer. So that may look different when you sign in. You may not see those because their admin at their school level pushed those out for them. Whereas these others we saw on my page because the district has pushed them out. So that is the student view. Pretty simple. That's really
so. Yes, the student could see the apps pushed out by the district, the apps pushed out by the school, those school-based apps that maybe the STC or Clever Administrator pushed out, and then the teacher pages and any teacher pages that have been selected for that student. Exactly.
Yes. And it's just really easy to use. Okay, so now I'm back here. And Stephen, you were cutting out a little bit. Are we still on? Are we good?
We're good. Yes.
Okay, great. So now I'm back here, and you can see I have a favorites, the word favorites here. If I drop down, it can show favorites that you have favorited. So when you hover over these apps, you can click on the little heart, and it will add the favorite for you as the teacher. That's what that is. And then we have the district. So like we just said, these are apps that the district has controlled, and it tells you up here, controlled by your district. And one thing that I haven't tested here for the teacher, and maybe Henry or Donna can answer, is if the school has pushed something out, will that show up here as well and say controlled by the district? Is that still considered? I think it is, but I just wanted to clarify.
If it's a school push out, I don't think it's on the district page.
It wouldn't be in the district applications category. It would probably be in a separate category that the STC or maybe one of us in the central office had created to add that extra resource.
Okay. But it would still, for the students though, it's showing up under, which I guess on the other school example that they could have asked the district to push it out to them. So
right. Kathleen, we just have a couple minutes left. I want to make sure we cover how to help a student.
Yes, so I'm going to go over here to the right and click on Help a Student. And you can choose your child's drop name from the list. And let's say that Stephen Durham doesn't know his login. I, as a teacher, can click on his name and give him a temporary log in to access Clever. So that's helpful, as well as if a child is struggling with an app or something in Clever, I can click on their name and it will give me different questions to answer and ask the child to try to help them. And if I can't get anywhere with it, it's not helping, then Clever will send me on to their support to help. So that's great as well. And I know we're a little over. We had some technical difficulties, but one last thing, this new analytics tab up here is brand new. Yesterday I logged in and noticed it. So right now I do not have classes in my class because I don't have classes in Infinite Campus, but teachers are able to see their students here and who has been active in the past several days or no activity in the past week. So that's a new tab. Lastly, on the slides that are in the virtual training schedule, we have some Q&As to help you with some questions we've received through this process. Clever support page is great too. They have some great videos that have helped me. And also Common Sense Media is there. That's something great to check out. We have a Clever Tips for Parents that came from that Clever support page, as well as how students can log into Clever and how STCs can support their schools on our JCPS digital learning channel. So these are all resources that we have for you, and we hope that this video was helpful. And if you have further questions, you can feel free to reach out
to your digital innovation leader, and we're here to help. Thanks so much again, Henry and Donna, for being in the chat. Were there any questions or anything we missed?
No, I think we covered it all. Thank you very much, Kathleen. That was great.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Kathleen. Thanks, Henry. And thank you, Donna, in the chat. Amazing teamwork. Truly enjoy it. Great stuff. And I see our English language team is waiting patiently in the back. Michelle and Renee, happy Friday. Happy Good Friday.
Happy Good Friday to you all. How are you?
Good.
Now, before you go, Kathleen, I have something for you guys. I'm presenting you with an Emmy. You guys have been rock stars. So it's a virtual Emmy. I'll get in trouble if I really give it away, but I do have Emmys in my basement. So congratulations, you guys.
I love it.
This is worthy of an Emmy. You guys have been amazing all week. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I love your shirt. Work hard and be nice. It's like my motto. I love it.
Trying.
I love it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You
Can't
too.
wait to learn from you. I learn something new each time I watch. So
thank you. Get some rest.
All right.
All right. Hey, Renee.
Hello.
All right. You ready to do this?
We're ready, or I'm ready. I don't know who the other person is.
All right, we've got teachers. We are excited, and I hope that lots of you are joining us. And we don't need just ESL teachers here today. We'd like everybody in JCPS to watch this show because we think what we're going to show you is going to help you help all students. And our very favorite thing about this is that these tools, when we talk about personalized learning, this is personalized learning because students are going to learn how to use these tools and then they can get exactly what they need. So this isn't something that a teacher has to do for each individual student. These tools can really be taught to students so that they can use exactly what they need. What do you think, Renee?
Yeah, I think that's true. So, I mean, these are just great tools and are really going to allow you to provide the supports that your students need. I mean, they're just great tools. I mean, I don't have any other words.
I love it. So I'm looking at the chat. I've got Drew Courtney, an amazing high school teacher, now ESL resource teacher. He's going to be my new partner in crime. We've got Elizabeth Rose, an amazing middle school resource teacher who just came to us. We stole her from Westport Middle. We've got Corey Rogolinsky. I love Corey. She's been doing our online PDs with us. Oh, Jack, we've got all kinds of great people. So jump on in and ask us and tell us what you need. We've got Drew and Elizabeth who can answer all those questions, and we'll be helping you here. So this is exciting. And Chandler's there too. All right. So, okay. All right, let's get started. So Immersive Reader is awesome. And that's what we're going to highlight today. But before we do that, I want to take a peek at this infographic. So Dr. Irina McGrath, she's amazing. And she now works for KDE. So miss her dearly. She and I made this graphic a few months ago because we were really excited by the accessibility functions in both platforms. And we would look at Google, and then we started looking at Microsoft, and we're like, you know what? You really have to think about what you want to do in each situation, because sometimes Google is the right answer and sometimes Microsoft is the right answer. So for example, if you were here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Renee and I showed you how to use captions. So captions are awesome. You can use those in Google Slides, and so kids can see exactly what you're saying as you're saying it. But you know what? Captions in Google Slides are only in English. If you jump to the Microsoft side, you can actually speak in English or speak in Spanish or another language, and you can get a translation on the screen instantly. So, you know, if you can app smash this with Screencastify, that might be awesome for students in your class. Voice typing, same thing. We showed you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday how to use voice typing. You can also do that in Microsoft. It's in Word and it's called Dictate. Google Translate is amazing. And we showed you all kinds of things you can do. If you missed it, go back and watch. But Microsoft Translator is really cool too. You can have a meeting with families or students, and every student can turn their device to the language they want. And so you can translate your message in one language, English, and everybody gets exactly what they need. So that's super cool. Google Forms, we know and love. There's not a lot of language support there. We have been using Microsoft Forms to actually send forms home to parents where they can do a drop-down menu at the top. Scott Belden at Doss High School is the master of this. He can show you how to do a drop-down menu so parents can read it in Swahili, French, whatever language they want. So that's an awesome one. And then YouTube. Well, that's just Google. But on the Microsoft side, Immersive Reader is a tool that only Microsoft has. So at the bottom of this infographic, we have the languages that you can get in each. Google has over 100. Microsoft doesn't have as many.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. If you'd like to get this infographic, Irina and I have a website. It's called ELL 2.0. Just go to bit.ly ELL 2.0 and you can get this infographic and a million other things. We create weekly resources for teachers. So there's lots of stuff there for you guys. All right. So I'm going to tell you that if you haven't used Microsoft in a while, you're going to want to take another look, because Satya Nadella, he's the CEO of Microsoft, and he came on board several years ago. And when he came to Microsoft, he said that accessibility would be one of the organization's core missions. And this is important to know. Mr. Nadella has a child with special needs, and he felt an ideological and emotional need to go ahead and provide more inclusive supports for all users. He believed this so strongly that he actually changed Microsoft's company mission. So their new mission statement is this: at Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. It's awesome. So what we're going to show now, Immersive Reader, is a full screen reading experience that was originally designed for students with dyslexia. It does include line spacing, highlighting, all sorts of other tools to support striving readers. And we're going to show you those. But what Renee and I are going to focus on, teachers, is showing you how you can harness these powers and show them to your kids so that they can support themselves. And so Renee's going to take it away with a demo for you.
Sure. So whenever you want to start with Immersive Reader, we want to start at office.com, and we're just going to sign in. The good news is we can use our same Jefferson County email and password to sign in because it's linked with our email. And so it all works flawlessly, just so easy to use. So I'm going to hop here and I'm going to show you how quick this is. I'm going to go to office.com. And because I'm already signed in, it's not going to ask me to sign in. You'll notice I have apps here. These are all the apps that we have available. And what Michelle was saying yesterday was that a lot of people have the misconception now that you have to buy Microsoft products. They're so expensive, but all of these tools are free for students and teachers. That's right, Michelle?
That's right. Go to Office, I think it's /teacher.
For teachers and students, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So we can use these tools, and they're, in a way very similar to using Google Docs or those kind of things, but it's Microsoft Words with the same look and feel of Microsoft. So we're going to be in Microsoft Word today. And so I'm going to go ahead and open a new document. I'm just going to do a new blank document by pressing this plus button here. All my other files that I've created are down below. And so I'm just going to start with a new one because there's different ways you can start with Immersive Reader. So the first way is just to open a new document and create some text. Oh, and let me start with this a little bit bigger so you can see.
Isn't it fun when everyone's watching you type, Renee?
I know, and I just realized I should probably be talking as I'm talking. That's probably kind of boring. So just writing a sentence or two, to talk about this so you can see what it looks like in the translator. I'm keeping with yesterday's theme of penguins. Early in the week, it was frogs. Now it's So I'm just going to type a little bit of text. Another fun fact when you are in Word Online, and a big tip to know too is this is also only, Immersive Reader is only in Microsoft Word Online. It's not on your desktop version. So if you're looking for Immersive Reader on your desktop Word, you're not going to find it. So you need to be in Word Online. So we're going to go and I was going to show you the cute little tool. So you can go to Insert and Emoji, and they already have the emojis built in here, but you can also go to More Emojis and find other little examples. So we have a little penguin in here. So he's really cute. So we'll put him in. So those emojis could be another way that you could add picture support to your text and just to give the students a little bit of support. So I love the little emojis that just had to put. So when we do this now, I just have a plain document. If I want to look in Immersive Reader to get those extra tools, I'm going to go to View, and then I'm going to go to Immersive Reader. 2 simple clicks, View, Immersive Reader. When I open Immersive Reader, it's going to give me a completely new view. All my writing tools are gone. Oh, let me turn off my tools from yesterday, Michelle. All my preferences are still there. When I hide those are
it remembers. It knows what we like.
It does, and so now it's giving away all our good information. Mm-hmm. So now we have Immersive Reader open, and you can see all my editing tools are gone, and so I'm just looking at the text. This is purely for reading. So my first option is to press the play button down at the bottom to have it read back to me, and I'm going to make sure I turn that. See, I didn't. I'm going to turn it off. Make sure it's not talking. Okay, let's try this.
Today, we are going to talk about penguins. Penguins are cool, penguin.
It reads the emojis as well, so I just love that. I think that is so neat. And so you could continue to write a sentence and it would say, using the penguin in the sentence. So love that feature.
So teachers, I'm wondering if you have read alouds, if you have students, ECE students, ESL students, younger students who benefit from a read aloud, if we show them this tool, that's going to be really helpful. So talk to me in the chat and tell me how you think you could use this.
Yeah. And while we're waiting for some answers, I'll go ahead and show you a few of the text features you have to change. So, in order to increase, I can't even think of words today. So if I want to increase text size, readability, that's the word I was looking for. Readability. If I'm looking for readability, I have some options here, and, we can take out a lot of the white light and put in what is that called? What do they call it? The dark view or I can't even think of anything now. It'll come to me in 5 minutes when I'm thinking.
I bet it's like a dark mode, right?
It's like dark mode. You can do this on your phone as well. I think it's called dark mode, but then I thought that doesn't sound right. So, you can take away some of those lights and change the backgrounds to make it a little bit easier to view, a little bit easier on the eyes. Michelle, do you want to tell them a little bit about Comic Sans?
Yeah, so I had this verified by Brian Franklin, who's an expert in this area yesterday. So I feel safe sharing this. But Comic Sans, graphic designers have always made fun of that font and said that it's not good for design purposes. But I've actually read articles where it says that it's great for students with dyslexia. It helps students read and focus better. So Comic Sans might be a font you want to use.
Yeah, and you'll notice I have increased spacing turned on, and so I can pop that on and off. But I do think it, will be easier for students, to look at those words when everything's not so crammed together. So those are those kind of basic formatting features. So now we can talk about the grammar options. Michelle, do you want to talk about any of those?
Sure. So the second tab in Immersive Reader, you can go ahead and select syllables. And so let's take a look at this. So there we go. You can see how now we have the words broken into segments. So if you're working with students who are developing readers, you can help them. Actually, I've been helping with the scaffolds on the choice boards, and Jenny Averly, I think it was Jenny's prompt, was about writing a haiku. So I actually used this the other day to go ahead and find out how to segment the words, to do it neatly. So I jumped over here into Immersive Reader, put the haiku in, and it gave me my syllables so I could show the students how to count those out. I also love down here the parts of speech. So Renee's going to turn some of those on for us. So will you just turn on adjectives? Just adjectives?
Just adjectives. Done.
And so the fun thing about this is if you are teaching, parts of speech in class, or you're talking about making your writing more descriptive, using adjectives, you see how it's a different color now. It's green. We could go ahead and take a text and highlight it, put it into Immersive Reader, which is just copying and pasting into Word and then pushing these buttons, and show students, let's really focus on the adjectives today and how we use those. In addition to just having them color coded, we could even turn on a label. So if we click that little button at the bottom, I bet Renee can turn on the labels for us. And then we can see adjective, and you could turn on all parts of speech, which I think gets a little busy, but we could just turn on, there you go, or we could just turn on parts of speech that we're highlighting. So from a high school perspective, that's what I think would be really handy. And I'd love to see in the chat what you guys are thinking, how you could use this. And maybe Renee, you have some ideas for elementary?
Yeah, I know a lot of the language standards revolve around parts of speech, and my son today was just working on parts of speech and saying, what's an adverb? So I think this would be a great way to kind of demonstrate that, and maybe, even do some self-checking and putting that in there and finding out what the parts of speech are. So they definitely think it has its uses.
Yeah, I love it. And so part one, we looked at the spacing and sort of those readability features. The second part of Immersive Reader, we zeroed in on the language. You saw the syllables and the parts of speech. Now Renee is going to take us over to the third column, which is my favorite. That is really going to support our English learners. She's going to show us languages. So she's going to show us how we can actually translate a document for students, how we can get a read aloud, and our very favorite, the Pictionary, or the dictionary. So I guess it is a Pictionary. So
it is the Pictionary. So the Picture Dictionary, that's a mouthful to say, is really a great feature, again, for students that are acquiring the language, learning new vocabulary. A lot of times, it's difficult. So Immersive Reader has given us a little tool. If I hover over a word or click on a word, it's going to give me a picture of that word, and I can listen to it as well in English. So this is my favorite picture definition of all times. Agree with me in the chat. Give me a shout if you think this is not the best definition of cool. But it also highlights that it gives you definitions for words with multiple meanings. So you have cool as in, a little bit cold, and also cool as in, cool. So I love the picture dictionary. So there's that feature. And you can toggle that on and off right here in this switch. So I can turn it off or I can turn it on. I don't know really why you'd want it off. The next feature is translate. So I have the option to translate into all of these different languages. Look at this. I mean, just tons and tons of languages. So this is a great feature. Again, Michelle mentioned this at the beginning. This is one of these tools that you are going to have to train your students to use for themselves. Unfortunately, it's not something you can turn on for them. It's something that they will have to use for themselves. So this is why this is a super important feature, but they also have to learn how to use it. So you have two ways to translate. You can translate by word, which is just being able to click on a word and seeing the two definition or the translation side by side with the word. And then you've got your picture dictionary, which this is just amazing. So if you're just needing a little bit of support, I think this is a great feature. So maybe you can, you're almost there with your English proficiency, but every once in a while you come back, what is this word, and then you can have that little bit of support there. Or
So Renee, I was going to say, we know that Google Translate offers more than 100 languages. Immersive Reader has fewer languages, something like, I think it's 30. It's on that infographic. But, for some of those rare languages that we have, like Kinyarwanda, which has just been added to Google Translate, don't you think that this picture dictionary could fill in a lot of gaps for languages we don't have the translation for?
Absolutely. Again, it's a great support. There's no answer. There are languages that we have a really hard time translating and finding the translators or interpreters for. So, this gives you, your best effort as a teacher. You're giving your students your best by providing them with this tool and showing them how to use this tool. Let's see. The second way you can do it, we did by word. We can also turn on by document. And in this way, it's going to open the document. Let me turn that off now so you can see the whole screen. It's going to open the whole document and translate the entire document. You can also go back to the original right here, and then you can switch back to the translation. So if you're kind of comparing back and forth, you can look at it that way. You can play it back. So I just go down here to play it back.
اليوم سنتحدث عن طيور البطريق. طيور البطريق هي كل نقطة بطريق.
So pretty cool, right? Being able to change it this way and looking at, just the way all the different languages look. Oh, let me turn the whole document. Just amazing being able to see this. So a great tool with different features here for translation, the picture dictionary, also the line focus. Do you need any more reason to use Immersive Reader?
So Renee, I love Immersive Reader. I think it's great. I think one of the barriers that I hear from teachers is they're nervous about how to get started with it. Like, how do I use this with students? How do I get work sent to students using Immersive Reader? So would you go back to the beginning again and just show us, how do you start with Immersive Reader? Because I'm seeing in the chat that we have sold people on Immersive Reader. They want to use it. But start at the beginning with office.com and show everybody what's there.
So at office.com, let me go see, can I go back one more to my apps? So let me just do it this way. I'll go back to office.com. You have other methods. When you go to office.com, you can open Word, and you can start that way by starting a new document. Once you have your document, you can share it out in different ways. But I also wanted you to know that you can also upload a document from your desktop or from your documents by just clicking this button. And I already had one in my documents from yesterday's. You can just upload the document that way and have it ready to go. So there's yesterday's penguin. And you can just share this out in the same way, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it just provides a link, just like you do in Google Docs. And this could be copied and pasted to an assignment in Google Classroom, right? I'm thinking that's how I would do it. Is that how you would do it?
Yep, that's how we do it. And I actually had Drew Courtney, who is teaching and helping us at the same time. I had him do a demo this morning just to make sure that it worked the way I thought it did. And he said, as long as the link is viewable, that the students have a view-only copy of the link, it'll work just fine. So, go back to Word. I know some of us haven't used Word in a few years, but go ahead and type up your stuff in Word, get that viewable link, and share it out. And Drew is there in the chat. So if any of you have questions, he is successfully doing this with his assignments for his high school English learners at Moore right now. And he wants them to be able to have those read alouds. He wants them to have those picture dictionaries. He wants that translation there. So he's in the trenches doing this right now. So we're so lucky to have him there, and Elizabeth is there same way. She can answer your questions about that. But this is just such a game changer. And again, Renee, I think that the really important thing, the important takeaway for teachers is that we are giving students power to use the tools that they need to support themselves, right, with this.
Exactly.
And this works beautifully on a Chromebook. You're going to see, as you start to use Immersive Reader, you can always identify it by the symbol. So it has that little, she's pointing to it. It's hard to see it, but it's the book with the speaker. And you're going to see when you go to other applications, if you use other digital tools, you're going to see that little book and that speaker, and it's going to tell you that other apps, other programs use that. And so check it out and see if it's there. Now, we had a great discussion yesterday about what applications are okay to use, because it's kind of the Wild West out there right now. Everybody's sending us this, try our program, this is free. So a good place to start is to go to jcps.me/software, and you can see where JCPS is on that software and what kind of privacy agreement we have with them, and whether it's, you have a green light to use that with students in your class. One last thing we want to tell you, we all know about equity and digital equity right now, and that not all kids have a device at home. Not all kids have a Chromebook. We're going to have kids that are doing work on phones. We're going to have kids that are doing work on paper. So please go to either our NTI Hub, that main page, or check out the YouTube channel, the Digital Learning channel, for a video, and it's called Language Help with Phones, and it has my picture on it. Sorry. But if you go there, I show you how to use something called Microsoft Office Lens. It's a free program. It's on your phone. It's actually teacher should just use it because it's a great tool because you can quickly scan and upload documents. But the very cool thing about it is that it has Immersive Reader embedded into it. So if you take this video and you put it in your Google Classroom to show kids how it works, they can take their paper choice board, they can take books that they have at home, and they can hover over and use Immersive Reader on those texts at home. So it's very cool. Every educator needs to know about Office Lens. It's so easy to upload documents. It's a scanner in your pocket. You can make things PDF. You can add, but the powerful thing for us is that you can do Immersive Reader right there. So I love that you guys have joined, and I love all the questions that you're asking. And we have just enjoyed working with this Emmy Award-winning team. Danielle and Matt, you guys are awesome, and we think you deserve an Emmy.
Thank you. That is so sweet. Thank you.
And you guys are amazing, and we can tell it's Friday because you're having so much fun. The energy is just, it's amazing. We love it. You guys are great.
You're awesome.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye.
And thank you, Drew, in the chat. Good job. How's it going, Matt?
Great. How are you?
Not bad. You guys ready to talk about some Screencastify?
Yes. Let's do it. hello, everyone in the chat and watching today. I hope you guys are having a great Friday. My name is Matt Bolka, and with me is Danielle Washburn today.
And sorry, Danielle.
I was just saying hi.
And today we're going to talk about using Screencastify to record content for our students. So I'm going to go ahead and share my slides. So let me share my screen. If you do want to see this presentation, if you go to the JCPS Virtual Training Support Schedule sheet, you can find this linked up here under the 1:30 slot all week long. So today, in using Screencastify, we will find the Screencastify extension and add it to Google Chrome. We will learn how to record our screen with or without an embedded webcam, and we will talk about some helpful tips and tricks for creating online content. And we have a fourth edition today, where Danielle is going to talk to us about the Screencastify submit option, which is coming soon, I think. So first, let's talk about how we find the Screencastify extension and add it to Google Chrome. So all of these steps are numbered 1 through 15, so that way we can easily find it. So first step, we go to screencastify.com, and from there we want to add it to Google Chrome. So you'll see a blue Add to Chrome button. We're going to click that, and it's going to bring us to this next part right here, which is the Chrome Web Store. And all we're going to do here is we are going to, again, click Add to Chrome to add the Screencastify screen video recorder as an extension in Google Chrome for ourselves. After you hit Add to Chrome, you're going to see this dialog box appear in the top right corner of your browser. It's going to say Screencastify screen video recorder has been added to Chrome. You will just close out of that. And then you'll see the Screencastify icon here, which is that pink right pointing arrow with the camera in it. So we're going to click on that, and that is going to bring us to the Screencastify setup. So when you do this, you want to sign in with your Google account, and you want to make sure it's with your JCPS Google account, because we want all of your screen recordings to save to your Google Drive for JCPS. So you're going to sign in with Google. You want to make sure that this, where it says automatically save videos to Google Drive, is checked, and it should be checked for you when you start. So we click sign in with Google, and then we click sign in with Google again. And you need to select your JCPS Google account. You'll see that I have mine highlighted here. For the rest of these screenshots, I actually go through and do this with my personal account because I already had this done with my JCPS account, but you want to select your JCPS account. So we're going to click on our jefferson.kyschools.us account. And when we do that, it's going to bring up another window that says Screencastify wants to access your Google account just so it can create a folder and manage videos in there for you. It's just going to save them automatically there. And then in that folder, you can find all of your videos that you've ever recorded. You can rename them. You can sort them into other folders, whatever you would typically do with Google Drive. We're going to click that blue Allow button. And from there, it's going to take us to the next step of our Screencastify setup, which is setting permissions and allowing our camera and microphone to be used, and allowing the drawing and annotation tools in Screencastify to be used. So we want to make sure both of those boxes are checked. And then we click Next, and you'll see in the top left section of your browser, it'll bring up a box that says Screencastify wants to use your microphone, use your camera. We are going to click Allow, and it's going to let you select which camera and which microphone you want to use, which we will see later on when we go through our video recording. After that, you are done with the setup. So we're going to click on the Screencastify icon again, and there it's going to pop up the recording window, and we'll talk about all the options there in just a second. But for the setup still, you want to click Upgrade. You're going to see where it says 5-minute limit per video. If we click that blue Upgrade button, it's going to bring up this window, which says $49 per person per year. But we're going to click on the Get Started button because Screencastify has decided to be really awesome and give us a coupon. That way we can have unlimited recording for the next month. And this works for teachers, students, anybody. If you wanted to get this on your personal account for some reason, you could do that as well. That's what I did here. So you're going to see a redeem coupon option or an enter payment info option. We want to click redeem coupon. There's no reason to put any payment info here. You're not going to pay for anything anyway. So we click redeem coupon, and the coupon for this is cast_COVID in all caps. And again, that can be used for teachers, it can be used for students, it can be used for anybody. After we click OK, it'll bring us back here, and instead of where it said $49 due here, you'll see after the coupon it's $0 due. The next billing date, it would say a month from today. So if you did it today, it would say May 10th, 2020. And you'll see there's no option to even put any payment info in here anymore. It just says to activate the license. So if you're like me and you typically forget to cancel your free trials on things and you end up getting charged double-digit dollars for something that you didn't really want to begin with, you don't have to worry about that happening with Screencastify. They're giving it to you for free for a month and hopefully longer if this situation happens to persist past May 1st.
Yes, and that's what I was going to say. I logged in today into my subscriptions, and they have extended it until May 30th. So thank you, Screencastify, for extending that coupon code. We are forever grateful to you. Thank you.
Yeah, it is really, really awesome.
Yep.
And really helpful when you consider the amount of content you can create for your students while we're gone from physical school. So if we click activate license, it will give you this thank you page, and it says, all right, your extension is installed and you have the unlimited upgrade. So do we have any questions on that first part before I move on?
I don't believe we do. We are currently helping Brandy Durham do something. So we will, I think we're going to talk about it in a minute though. So
okay. Awesome. So we're going to learn now how to record our screen with or without an embedded webcam. So to do that, we want to click on the Screencastify icon, and I'm actually going to walk you guys through what a recording would look like, just because I think it's a little easier to see it done while we're doing it rather than explaining it through screenshots. So I'm going to go to an example lesson that I have planned. So when you're doing a lesson for Screencastify, you can do it a couple different ways. You can just make a slideshow with blank slides on there, or you can have some pre-made slides like I did. So I'm a former chemistry teacher, so I put a stoichiometry problem in here. But if you were just going to write some notes down, you could have a blank slide. We talked earlier in the day about using Jamboard as well, which is on Google. So if I have my slides produced here and I want to make a video explaining how to do the stoichiometry to calculate the numbers of liters of hydrogen required, I'm going to click on the Screencastify icon up in the top right. And it's going to give me several options here. I can record my browser. I can record my whole desktop. So even if I close out of Google, or if I minimize Google Chrome, it'll still continue to record. Or I can just record my webcam. You'll also see that I can choose which microphone I want. It defaults to my AirPods because I have those in right now, but I could also use my built-in microphone. It also defaults to my built-in camera, but if I had another webcam that was plugged in via USB, I could use that as well. It gives me a countdown option, so it gives me 3 seconds, 5 seconds, or 10 seconds before it starts recording. I want to click Show Drawing Tools, that way I can use those. And it does give you a webcam preview as well. So if we click, sorry, I want to do desktop. If we click on the hamburger or the 3 lines, whatever you want to call that, it's going to give you some other options as well. Danielle had mentioned clicking on the My Subscription option, and that will show you how much longer you have on your unlimited accounts, unlimited subscription. There's some other options for like saving things and video quality and things like that. This will take you to the video editor, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then there's some other resources in here as well. You can also click right here to go to your own recordings. So we're going to hit record, and you can see that it pulls up a webcam. It gives me an option to select what I want to record on my screen. So I'm going to select my entire screen, and I'm going to click share. It gives me my countdown, so that's good. So now you can see my webcam is here in the bottom. I can shrink that. I can increase the size on that. I can click and drag it to wherever I want to be. So if I want to put it in the top right corner or anywhere I want, I can put it in the middle if I really wanted to be my own way. So below the webcam, you'll see I have some annotation options down here. I have a pause button, so that'll pause my recording. And you can see I can stop it or I can restart my recording from there, but I'm just going to resume recording. Also in the top, if you click on the Screencastify extension icon again, you have those same options. You can trash the recording if you just think it's bad and you just want to leave it alone. You can restart your recording, which will restart it immediately, or you can pause it and then you can stop your recording from there as well. The first kind of options we're going to talk about in the toolbar down here. So I'm down below my webcam. You can focus your mouse, so you can see that it focuses my cursor. It highlights it and kind of dims everything else out. You can also see that there is a hide cursor when not moving option. So my cursor right now is moving, and when I stop moving, it hides it. There's also an option to highlight your clicks. So you can see it's highlighting everywhere that I click on this page. So that's a good way to draw your students' attention to different things that you're working on or you want them to pay attention to. There's also the pen option. So when I click on that, it'll give me options for different colors. So when I used to teach my students stoichiometry, I'd always tell them, underline what we want and then draw a square around what we're given. So this is pretty sloppy, but so I can do that. There's an erase function. So let's say I'm a little overexcited about what I underline or draw a square around. I can erase what I need to. There's also a wipe screen clear option. So if I click that, everything goes away. And then from there, I can also toggle my webcam on and off. So if I don't want my students to pay attention to me, I want them to pay attention to what I'm going through. I can use that to get rid of my webcam. So from here, I am going to stop my recording. And we're going to talk very briefly about some of the video editing options and some other sharing options that you have whenever you get to this stage of your video. So along the bottom here, you'll see that I can use these scissors to clip off some time at the beginning or time at the end, so I can trim it. So if I started and I kind of stumbled over my words saying hello, or I ended a little awkwardly, I can trim off at the beginning and end there. I can also change the name of my recording. So if I look up here, it says Untitled April 10th, 2020. I can change that to April 10th, example JCPS, and it'll save that name. Whoops, I unmuted myself, sorry. It'll save that name in my folder under that now so I can find it more easily. If I copy shareable link, it will enable link sharing. So I can hyperlink this into a Google Doc or an email or something like that. There are also some other options where I can view it on my drive. So if I go to Google Drive, you can see my Screencastify folder is right here, and that video just appeared. Whoops, I don't want to look at that. So if I click into my Screencastify folder, you can see all of my recordings that I've done for the past however long I've been making them. And that's very easy to find if you just look at your folders. Your folders should appear at the top of your drive. If you sort them by Z to A, Screencastify should be pretty close to the bottom there. I also have the option to share it a couple different ways. So I can send it in a Gmail, which probably wouldn't be very helpful. I can generate a QR code. I can embed the code into a website or something like that. I can publish it to my own YouTube channel if I have one, or I can share it to Google Classroom, which is how I imagine most of you will be sharing your videos with your students. So if I click on Share to Classroom, and I'll blow this window up a little bit for us to see, you'll see it allows me to only choose one class right now, but don't worry, you can select your other classes after you hit go. So if I'm going to select my tester class, and then I can create an assignment, I can ask a question, I can make an announcement, or I can create material. And I'm going to create an assignment, and I'm going to click go. From here, I can name the assignment, I can add instructions, and then when I go click over to 4 here, that's where I can choose my other classes. So if I have 7 classes, I can choose all 7 classes. I can also select which students I want to assign this to, just like you could when you're assigning anything else in Google Classroom. You can also adjust the number of points. You can adjust the due date, the topic, and if you click the arrow next to assign, you can schedule this to go out as well, which I know is something we've been talking about in our Google Classroom trainings this week, that it's important to use that scheduling function so we don't overwhelm our students with all the work and assignments that they could have popping up on their feed. And then if I was done with that, I would just click assign, and it would assign it to Google Classroom. Any questions currently, Danielle?
There are no questions, just comments. One, there is a free ebook discusses 50 ways to use Screencastify in your classroom. That is a great resource to look at. And Russ Hockenberry said that that is a great Google Classroom integration with Screencastify.
Cool. Alrighty. So if we don't have any questions, I am going to take us to the video editor. And it really probably is the easiest video editor you'll use in your whole life. So on the slides that we have, I have some screenshots of the different functions for the video editor with some speaker notes there. But I'm just going to briefly touch on what these three things do. So you'll see I have three options: cut, crop, and text. So what the cutting function does is if I take a clip, so if you can see my cursor, if I'm clicking on my video reel down here and I click cut, you'll see that wherever I clicked, it cut it into multiple clips. So instead of being one long video clip, now it is multiple clips, and I can continue to cut that wherever I need to. The function for that, you can do a couple different things. You can use that to break apart your video with some of these other functions. So if I want the beginning of my video to be my introduction, I can add text to it, and I can say stoichiometry intro. And so that would go through that whole introduction section. In another section, let's say that I'm talking about something and I start having a sneezing fit, or my dog starts barking in the background, or my food in the microwave is done or something. I can click the trash can button and I can delete that whole clip out, so I don't have to worry about it. One of the other things you can do, let's say that you're looking at a website or a video or something on here, and an ad pops up that you don't want your students to see. I can click on the crop function here, and I can crop out the part of my video that I want my students to see. I can click done, and so now you'll see that the text is here in this part, and then this part I've actually cropped my face out because I didn't want to see it in this section, and then it goes back to normal here. One of the other things you can do is you can add clips from other sources. So if I had a previous Screencastify that I made about a lesson that I really liked, or my coworker made one or something like that, and I didn't want to re-record that again, I could insert that clip from my Google Drive or from my device by uploading it. So that's a way you can kind of stitch together multiple videos. You could also insert, we've had a lot of questions about inserting YouTube videos that way. You would have to download the YouTube video somehow, or get a way to save that onto your device or to your Google Drive. And then you would have to insert it from there in order to do that. But you could, there are ways to take YouTube videos and then to insert them in here. And then I believe that's it. Yes? Did I miss anything there, Danielle? I feel like I'm blitzing through this today. Okay. All right. So from there, I'm actually going to turn it over to Danielle, and she's going to talk about the new Screencastify Submit option.
Yeah. So I am going to also share my screen.
Oh, so let me stop screen sharing. Sorry.
There we go. It's okay. All right. So if you are on the presentation, and I know Matt shared it at the beginning on where you can find the presentation, Screencastify has came out with Screencastify Submit. And this is an awesome tool to have your students submit their Screencastify to you through Google Classroom, all in one location. So that is amazing. This is the website to Screencastify Submit. So if I were to click on the website, and since I was approved to be a tester or to be involved in the beta trial, I do have my profile already up there. But from that site, you can go ahead and request access to the beta Screencastify Submit. So this will show you all of the assignments that I have posted. And then I am going to click on New Assignment. This is how you are going to start your new assignment. So just like the other ones, you will want to give it a title. So let's say solving equations, and then you can give students instructions. So please submit a 90-second video. And then click Next. After that, this is where you're going to set your settings. So what type of recording do you want? Do you just want the screen and microphone? So if students are showing you something on the screen, you'll probably want that option. But also there's a webcam and microphone. So maybe you just want to see your students demonstrate a drawing. So I know my kindergarten, they have their students create different drawings using like Play-Doh, or today was a anthill. So she could use Screencastify, talk about her model, and then submit it to Google Classroom. And remember, as a teacher, all of those Screencastify videos will be in one nice folder. So I'm going to click on the webcam and microphone. And then here's an option of enable email notifications. So if you want to be notified that a student has submitted their Screencastify video, you can leave that turned on. The other option, which I will probably suggest turning or keeping off, is that do you want to share all assignments videos with submitters? So maybe you want to turn that option on because you want your students to review each other's videos and give feedback. So that is one option for you if you want that to be turned on as well. So we are going to click next. Just like Matt went over, you can go ahead and post it to your Google Classroom, or if you are not using Google Classroom and if you want to post it on a website or any document that you may have, that is where you want to copy that link. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Google Classroom. And then it's the same screen that Matt talked about earlier. You can choose your class and then choose whether or not you want to create an assignment. Click go. And this is where you can create that assignment, do the instructions. Since Matt went over it before, I'm just going to go ahead and click on assign. And now that it's posted to my Google Classroom, and I can view it. So since this is an assignment, I can go to the classwork tab, and this is where the assignments are. Let me show you what the students will see. So let me go down to my student account. And this is the classwork for the student. So I can click on identifying shapes, click on Screencastify because this is the assignment that my teacher has assigned me. Right here, turn on mic and webcam. Since I selected mic and webcam, I will want to turn that on. You will have to allow access. So this goes back to another video of if you want your students blocking or allow, but you will have to allow for Screencastify and click record. So this time they'll give a 5 countdown. You do have the option of skipping the countdown. And now if my student is going over a model that they have created, that will be that time. I can stop the recording. It is processing the video. It should not take that long as it was only a 7-second video, but it will automatically post to Google Classroom and your teacher will be notified. So right here, it says that you are almost done, or do you want to start over? And then I feel confident in the video. It was only 9 seconds, so I will hit submit. So it is submitting the video, and now the teacher will have that video. So yes, your video was successfully submitted. So now let me show you, and you hear that ding because I was notified that a student has submitted a Screencastify video. But let me go ahead and show you what the teacher will see. So I am going to go back to my teacher tab. It was under identifying shapes. And then I can click on these 2 different assignments, but also remember, like Matt was talking about before, I can go to my Google Drive. And the very nice thing is that not only do I have the Screencastify folder, but I also have a Screencastify submit folder. So if I click on the Screencastify submit folder, these are all of the different assignments that you will have as a teacher. So it's nice that it puts that one assignment, all of their videos in one folder. Did I do identifying shapes? Yes, I did. And this is where the video is, and it will automatically, you can go through each video as a student or as a teacher. We did provide screenshots for you. So if you need to review those screenshots, you can on slides 27 through 30. I think that is all for Screencastify Submit. Were there any questions about that, Matt?
I did not see any about that in the chat. Yeah. So that is super awesome.
Yeah, it is in beta. So at this time, editor is in beta too, but for Submit, you will have to request access to Submit. It probably took about a week, maybe less than a week to gain access, but it is an awesome feature, especially if you're going to have your students curate those Screencastify videos.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, we have 6 minutes left, and
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again.
Hey, real quick, I want to cover, there is a question, Matthew. Bethany had a question in the chat, and she said, do we have the option to view as student in Google Classroom? We are using some of our kids' accounts to do the viewing that way. We don't have student accounts for teachers to use to see that view. That's a good question, Bethany. Sorry, Matt.
Oh, no, you're okay. Thanks for answering that. I didn't see it.
Yeah, I have a kindergarten, so frequently I use her account or I use another kid account.
Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and share one more time here. So with that, our last learning target we wanted to talk about today, we're just talking about some helpful tips and tricks for creating online content. And really, you want to keep it as simple and short as possible for your students. I'm sure we all know how hard it is to watch a video that's too long and really just drags on and on and on. So try to keep that to one learning objective or outcome as much as possible. And then please take advantage of the re-record, the pause, and editor functions. Make sure your video is smooth from beginning to end. We know that even if we're watching a video and there's 10 seconds of somebody tending to a dog or something like that, like we're going to get a little distracted ourselves and maybe not be fully attentive to it when it resumes. So please use those other options as well to make your cursor blink or hide or things like that, really to draw your students' attention to things and make sure that they're looking at what you want them to look at. So today we talked about finding the Screencastify extension and adding it to Chrome, learning how to record your screen with or without an embedded webcam, some helpful tips and tricks for creating online content, and Danielle took us through the sneak preview of the Screencastify Submit function. So there are a few other things to talk about. If you want to become a master screencaster and a screencaster certified genius, if you go to screencastify.com/courses, it'll take you here. These are about like an hour long. It'll take you through some of the functions that we talked about today, but the Screencastify Genius one will also go through how to further incorporate that with Google tools that you can use. There's also a Screencastify Master Junior class for your students as well, so they can learn the basics of how to use Screencastify appropriately and effectively. If you go to screencastify.com/submit, it will take you to the slide where you can request early access. And Danielle actually put a link to that in our slides as well. So if you go to screencastify.com/submit or click on that link, it'll take you there too. Whoops. So we only have a few more trainings today, but next week and in the coming month, we have more options. So remember to keep tuning in and checking on that virtual training support schedule for all of your NTI
needs. If you need any support, you can go to jcps.me/NTI and click on the teacher toolkit. And we have all of this information here for you, including a section on how to use Screencastify. If you do want to take part in the conversation on Twitter, you'll see that I just tweeted earlier using the hashtag JCPSDigIn, which stands for Digital Innovation. And you can also follow us at JCPSDI, standing again for Digital Innovation, to see all the latest and greatest in what we are doing in our department. So I appreciate you all tuning in, and I hope you learned something about Screencastify. If you need any help, please reach out to Danielle and I via email or Twitter, and we would love to help you get recording.
Yep. Thank
Awesome.
you all.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Jim.
And we have Summer here. Hey, Summer, how's it going on this awesome Good Friday?
Hey, it's going great. And the Screencastify, I cannot say enough amazing things. I literally just learned a couple of weeks ago, and the tools, it's just really neat. As you can hear my dogs whining now, I was recording this great video today and I'm like, can't get a hold of any of my kids. So I paused it. I successfully paused it, attended to the dog, and came back. And I just thought that was so cool. And then all the snipping tools, and if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, just the quick built-in features are really great. And the new Submit is, I can't say enough about that. For them to be, for students to be able to take little short video clips and explain things, especially as disconnected as we are now, it is so handy. It's such a powerful tool.
Yeah, I love it. And I saw on the chat earlier that somebody said there was a ebook that had 50 resources. When I was in the classroom, those were my favorite things. Like when you could just get tips and tricks, or here's how you use this in your classroom. Those are the best resources you can have.
Absolutely. All right. Danielle, did you need something?
I didn't. I just wanted to stay on to listen to Summer.
Oh, you have at it. All right, Summer, you ready? I'm going to turn it over to you.
I am ready. Yeah. I can't believe it's day 5 already. It's gone really quickly.
So I'm here today to talk to you about Edmentum and just how it's been used in the district and what we've been doing moving forward. I am really excited. Just the calls that I've had this week, the PLCs that I've joined, people are thinking of different ways to use Edmentum and Study Island, courseware, and even ExactPath. So it's been really awesome just to see what different teachers are doing, and then they're giving me ideas to spread out to other people. So it's been really fun. Like you were saying, it's so hard to connect, but that's what's great about Zoom and Google Meets and Screencastify. We're all sitting here at home, but you feel like you can make these little connections. So I look forward every day to 2:00 to see you all and say hey and check in. So yeah, let's get started here. I'll share my screen. I didn't do it right yesterday. Let's see if I do it correctly today. Let's see. You let me ramble on and on yesterday. All right. So I updated my numbers for this week, or for today, because I like to see, what's actually going on. So here I just have this slide deck. This is linked in the presentation if you go to the training schedule for teachers, and I would love for you to connect with me on Twitter. I'm new to that too. I think I've said this before this week. I used to only get my news and weather from Twitter. My husband didn't think that was a great thing. So now I have a teacher Twitter, and it's great. I'm seeing so many different people that I didn't realize were out there. This quote I've loved: e-learning was a nice to have, and now it's a need to have. It really is something that we've had for many years in education, but it wasn't something that we were utilizing to its fullest extent. And now we're really seeing how it can benefit us as teachers, our students and parents, just everyone across the board really is jumping right in. I'm so impressed with what Jefferson County has done with e-learning, because I've been working with Edmentum and courseware since August, and in the last 3 weeks we've done so much. So it's been really cool. So what is courseware? If you're new today, this is the first time you're watching. Courseware is an online curriculum for JCPS teachers and students grades 6 to 12. There's core subjects, CTE, electives, and world languages. They're all customizable. That's the greatest thing about courseware. You can pick up where you left off on March 13th, or maybe you've done a couple of things through other virtual outlets, and now you want to jump into courseware for the remainder of NTI. You can pick and choose and customize that course to best suit yours and your students' needs. So you do that by omitting, locking, and hiding the content. You can omit activities that you would need to score. So teachers, many of you have families at home and lots of things going on. The great thing about courseware, there are a lot of activities in there that you could keep open, like discussions and things that you would go back and grade, or you can omit those types of things, but it's still a very robust course, but the program will do the scoring and grading for you, and then you're just monitoring. So you can monitor, send messages to your students, reach out to them if you notice that they're struggling in a particular standard. So that's honestly what I would suggest. If you're a teacher and you're struggling with creating content and things like that, it's already done for you through courseware. So you could enroll your students there and then omit the discussion and teacher graded for now and use the program for what it does for you and see how that works. There's tons of embedded supports for ECE and our English language learners. I was on several calls this week with different ECE teachers, and it was just great to brainstorm with them the different ways that we can use Edmentum and courseware. Again, Study Island, if you have that, everybody has that, but ExactPath, if anybody has that at their building, that's a great tier 3 support too. So we can incorporate all these things together. There's real-time monitoring of your student progress. They have a pacing guide. You see the pacing guide. The teacher-friendly gradebook is great. And then the different reports that you can generate through courseware are some of the greatest reports I've ever seen. And I haven't really dove into many of them before this because I was just training, people to get on and how to use this in their classrooms. And now we're really looking at these reports and they're phenomenal. The other thing is flex assignments. That allows teachers to pull content from different courses. So what that means is you can pull your content from different Edmentum courses into like a single individualized learning path. So you could, I had an English 12 group and I created a flex assignment Screencastify video today. And I kind of used what they talked about in their PLC. They loved some of the stuff that was in English 12B, but they had already covered a lot of it. So they really only needed one unit from there. And then another one of them was looking around and found that business English had some really cool things in there for their students. So they pulled that into a flex assignment. So I did post that video today. It's linked to our my page that has all of our Edmentum videos, and we will keep on adding more and more for you all. And then, of course, these courses address state and national standards. And you can, when you are in flex assignments, you can look for assignments based on subject and content, or you can go by standard, which is a cool feature too. And I show that in our videos. So just looking at these numbers, it's mind-blowing to me, and I'm just so excited to see how many logins we've had. So this is logins in time for the entire school year. And just on April 9th, almost 4,000 students logged in. Just yesterday, almost 4,000 students logged into courseware. So that means those students are working. 523 teachers logged in. Jack, 523 teachers logged in just yesterday, but overall you can see it's just mind-numbing. I think it's so great. Yesterday they spent 1,700 hours in the system, students did, and our teachers were in the Edmentum system for 162 hours. So lots of people using this and having a lot of great success with it. Let's see here. Oh, that was a repeat slide. My bad. That was just for this week, our total this week. And then I thought this was really interesting. So we started using Edmentum back in August, courseware for credit recovery. And on August 12th, we had 681 students added, generally for credit recovery purposes. On April 6th, once NTI started to really kick in, we had 830 students added just on April 6th. So that was more students added for NTI than when we, brought the program, JCPS brought it to us from Edmentum. So I thought that was pretty cool. Teachers every day have been adding students. I've been updating this slide. Yesterday, 374 more students were added, and we broke over 20,000. So that was pretty cool. I don't remember what it was at the beginning of the week, but we've added quite a few students to our courseware programming this week, and I'm just really thrilled to see that and see that people are realizing this is a great strategy and tool. The content launches. So this many courses this week were launched, so over 8,800 courses, and just yesterday, 2,506 courses were launched. So just a cool look at the numbers. We're up 126%. So people are on there and utilizing it. Our students yesterday started 419 new modules and 722 were completed just yesterday. And then these show you for the last 7 days. The average learner is spending about an hour, a little more than an hour in the program. So teachers, hopefully we're being mindful about how much we're assigning to students and, keeping in mind that they may have 4 or 5 teachers assigning courseware, courses, or different things through Google Classroom. And I know some students, they're helping out their families with, younger siblings, and some may even be working part-time. I know the Kroger that I shop at, there's a couple of students from JCPS, and they're working more hours, which, is great for them. But, I always ask them, are you getting your schoolwork done? So they're great at time management. So that's a good thing to see about how long kids have been using the program each day. This is just some success that we've had in JCPS, and I've kind of went over this quite a bit, so anybody that's new today can read through it. But we've just had a lot of success here this year. And again, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Courseware, really, it's already done for you. You can just pick and choose what you want to use to suit your needs, and then take that extra time that you'll have to monitor your students' progress, reach out to them as individuals and small groups, and maybe even create something else. I know the English 12 group was adding TED Talks, and I've heard of a couple of social studies teachers who were using courseware and then having a fun Friday where they would do a virtual field trip. So I know the museum ones are pretty cool. There's so many free resources right now, which is fantastic. A couple of questions that I've had from this week is, how will my students know that I've created a flex assignment or a course for them in Edmentum? Well, they need to, you can reach out to your students. I'm sure you're doing that via phone calls, text messaging, and emailing. If you have a Google Classroom set up, which I think a majority of people do, you can message them through there and post as an assignment. Here's how you log into Edmentum. We also have a slide deck that was set up by a teacher at Seneca. It's really great, self-explanatory for the students, exactly step-by-step how to do it. He's even highlighted, where they're clicking. And then Coach Schatzer made a great student how-to video. So you are more than welcome to grab those links off of our page and put that in your Google Classroom and, let your students know that way. Again, how can I monitor my students? There are so many reports. I haven't even gotten through all of the great reports yet, and we plan to make a couple of videos and tips and tricks for you for those reports in the coming days. And the grade book is fantastic too. I really like the grade book setup. It reminds me a lot of Infinite Campus. So I think that, it's pretty seamless to go back and forth. And then the courseware resources that are available. The text-to-speech is huge for really all students. I had my son working today in a course, and he threw his headphones on and he was, listening to it and going right through it. So it doesn't matter. Any student can use the text to speech. These resources are available to every student in the program. They have highlighters. There's translation. I think they're up to 17 different languages. So the students can highlight the text and then paste it, and it will translate it into their the language that they choose. And then there's the dictionary lookup, which is also a good resource. And some courses have guided notes. The guided notes are my favorite thing because I was a former ECE teacher for 17 years, and I was very big on note taking. So I love that that's embedded in some of the courses. So I've had videos on how to find that too. Here's what a couple of our videos look like and how to find those resources. When you go to our JCPS NTI support in the teacher toolkit, and you can find anything that I've linked or people that have been supporting me, we've linked it through there. So just a quick kind of catch-all for everything that we have. And then I've also linked on this slide deck some more support, the Edmentum support survey. I check it every day. There's been a couple of people taking it each day, so that's helped me decide which video I was going to create next, or what do I need to talk to teachers about and reach out. And then we have our how-to videos and the Edmentum guidance, the student login videos right there, the slide deck, And then we have a Google Classroom that we're going to really get up and running to answer questions, post more resources, and then teachers will have a place where they can go and bounce ideas off each other and even ask each other questions. So that's it for my slides. I wanted to, Joey, are there any questions that I need? I'm talking really fast today.
Nope, no, Summer, there aren't any questions.
Okay, awesome. So, all right, with my last bit here, let's jump in and look at some of these reports that I've talked about and the program. So when you log on through Clever, you come to this landing page here, and you can see I have student 4. There's a mastery test locked, and it told me why. Their score was a 40. So that was my score. I did that. I was student 4. My son was student 3, and he got an 80. He told me he could have got 100, but he wanted to make sure that, you know, the score wasn't perfect. So I thought that was kind of funny. So I see here, this is the difference. This is what it looks like. Okay. So when you, on this alerts page, and then student 4 completed an activity and they scored a 12%. So what I did is I just clicked through so that you could see what it looked like on this page for you. All right. So then once you're here, you'll go to courseware in your school. And now we see all of our active sections in the course. Okay. And the class that my son Jack and I were working on today was academic success. And so there's still 2 off pace, 2 slightly off pace, and nobody's on pace. So maybe I'll convince him to do more. I talked to a teacher this morning who he said this was his first time using Edmentum, and they were confused at what course grade meant. So if you click, this is what I love about Edmentum, wherever you hover and click, it'll usually give you an idea of what it is. So that's the final grade that the student would earn if no more work is completed. So their current grade right here, that's the grade for anything that they've completed. That's what they've earned by doing tutorials and activities and post-tests and mastery tests. That's their current grade. This course grade can get a little bit confusing. That would be if I stopped the course today. I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. Forget it. I wouldn't have a 40. I would have a 1%, because there's that much, you know, I only have 4% of the course completed. So that would be if you stop the course, that's what your grade would be. So just to clarify, I know that one teacher was struggling with that today, and after we looked at that, he felt a lot better about it. I have this task is locked right here for this student. When I click on the lock, I can now unlock this mastery test. So this would be an opportunity for me to look at the test, see how the student did with it, and you know what was the reason. Did they just breeze through it? I can reach out to that student either on here and message them, or a phone call, or Google Classroom, and then let them know, okay, we've talked about it. You're going to go back through the tutorial and check on your notes, and I'll unlock it. Now they'll have the opportunity when they log back on, that will be unlocked, and they can go back through the tutorial and then retake that mastery test. Let's see here. Okay, good. The task is complete. So then that will show up for them. Another thing, when I was talking to a teacher today, he wanted to see specifically the amount of time that the student was working. So I chose student 4, and if you go right here to weekly progress, again, this is not a real student, so that doesn't give too much information, but it tells you their pacing status, their current grade, course grade, the activities they've completed, and the time on task, and how many times it was attempted. And then this is a clear report here. It'll show you their time on task. Obviously, we will hope our students are, much higher than this student here. And you can go back and display additional weeks for those people who've, or students that have been on here for a while. So that's just another great feature and a quick look if you want to see how much your students are doing and what their progress is. And then let's see here. So when we're done looking at that, we could come over here, go back to my courses, and then you have the option to look at any other classes that you have or create a new section. But what I want to show you is some of the great reports. Yesterday, I talked about this, so I'll briefly touch on it again. You can create reports and have them sent to you weekly, monthly. That's why these are called recurring. So yesterday, I set a test report up. So this is each week on Friday, I will have this report sent to me at 3 p.m. And it's a weekly progress report. And then I set another one that's going to come to me. Oh, this is the one I set for Friday. So it's coming today at 3. This report came to me yesterday at 3. So you can set those up. When you create a report, you have these options here. And then always be very intentional about how you name anything in courseware, because you want to make sure that it's specific to you and then you remember where to find it. So you could give it, whatever name applies to your class. And you could set up all of these to come, weekly or every other week, whatever you want. So we'll have a video for that too, to show you how to do that. And let's see, when you go, these are the reports that I'm really excited about, the classic reports. So these here give so much detail. Each one is so unique, and I don't have enough built in with my son and I taking courses. So we're working on that to really show you what they look like. This strengths and needs class report, I did this report with a freshman ELA teacher, and it was great because it narrowed down into 4 categories where her students were based on standards. And we could super quickly and easily see, okay, these 4 students are novice. We need to push this standard to them. We were able to brainstorm how we wanted to do that. So this is really one of my favorite reports. And I think once, next year we're back to normal, or at the end of this year, we can use that right in our classrooms to set up a workshop model and blended learning. How can we group students? That's really what I thought was great. It just kind of grouped the students for me. Then we have the course module mastery report. This was a pretty cool report too. So when you click on the course that you want to use, it'll generate a PDF for you. And this one, again, I only have 2 students who are working in this class, but it'll tell you the number of modules, the number completed. So student 4 completed 2 modules, student 3 hasn't completed any. And then we have the percentage completed, and then if they've mastered. This is the other, academic success course that I had my son working in today. I think this is the one he worked in. So it shows me again the modules. So if you, this one will give you a report for each of the classes, each section in a course that you have. So if you're an ELA teacher and you have 5 sections of ELA 9, it will give you all 5 sections report. So this is, might be a great report if your principal's like, how are your students doing? This would be a very quick report to pull and forward to them so they can see how much has been mastered and completed. So if you remember student 4, I had to unlock that test. So they completed that module, but that doesn't mean they mastered it. So that's another good quick way to look and see, okay, how many are they completing? How many have they mastered? So again, I think this is a great report to share out with your principals or guidance counselors if they want to know the success rate in your classes. There are, like I said, countless reports that I love in here. And the other one that I wanted to show you real quick is the course detail report. So it's a detailed score report. And we'll go back to my academic success again. It's a lot of clicking, but you want to make sure you get the right classes. And then you generate the report, and it'll come up with this Excel spreadsheet. So I like this because it's like a grade book. And this would be a great thing to print for just your own records. So it'll tell you who the instructors are. If I had a co-teacher, it would list them too. It'll give you your start date and end date. I'm a big date person. Like I always like to make sure my dates are correct, and obviously the class name. This report will tell you each mastery test and end of semester test, post test. obviously we didn't take a lot here, but student 4 got a 40% on that first mastery test. Their average on mastery test is a 5, and then their average attempted is a 4. So as more and more tests are taken, these, it's a great tool to look at how your students are doing and progressing through the mastery test. So again, these reports are really cool because it just depends on what do you want to look at? What do you want to know? And there's probably a report for it. So again, we'll keep looking at those for you and building them so that you can see what they look like and start using them with your NTI. And really, I hope next year and at the end of this year to use it with your classes when we're back to normal. So, Joey, do we have any questions?
Nope, it's all clear.
Nope. All right. Well, that's all I have for today. I think this has been a really
great week, and I've learned a lot myself. I've definitely stepped out of my comfort zone and have tried a lot of new things, and it's been really exciting to connect with so many people from digital learning. This team, you all are rock stars, the way that you have supported all of us, and you sit here every day and help us. So it's been really awesome. I really enjoyed it.
We're here for you. You guys put out all this great material for so many teachers that need it. It's just amazing. And with the Edmentum being able to cover so many different content areas, so many grade levels, and it goes down into the study island and that, it's such a great tool that shouldn't be overlooked right now.
Yeah, I hope not. And I think, our numbers are saying, when I look at those charts every day that people are using it, and I am getting really excited. So hopefully, a lot of times when Joey and I would go to schools during the year, or principals would be like, I want you to do a full staff training. I kind of shy away from that because I feel like, teachers are, so much is thrown down at them all the time and do this, and there's just so much out there. So I do prefer to kind of meet more in a small group and, have people that want to learn. And then the best thing for us is word of mouth. So if I hear that my teacher friend is using this great program and it's easy to use and her students are being successful, then I want to know more. So I do appreciate you all and showing me how to create those videos. I never in a million years would have created a video. And I really had a lot of gripe about it in the beginning. And Heather was so encouraging and sent me these cute little bullseyes about stepping out of my comfort zone. So it's been a real fun learning experience. So,
there's a lot of people doing we're all growing together, and it's just an amazing time for the digital world, and especially in education.
Yeah, I feel like we're finally catching up because so much has already been out there and we weren't using it. We were kind of in the dark ages a little bit. And this has forced us to really look at what's out there and meet and talk with people that you never would have before. I've definitely connected with so many people through JCPS and the Edmentum world, and then just it's had me connect with my teacher friends back in New York. So it's been really cool just to see everybody and what they're doing. It's exciting.
We definitely know what you mean. A lot of people reaching out for the digital tools, which it's just great to see so many people using it. It's a bad way to get there, but it's such a good leap for everyone that their skills are going to be so expanded after this.
Oh, absolutely. We were planning trainings for this summer on how to use the flex assignments. That's a great video. Anybody still watching, if you want to go out and check it out, it's awesome. I'm going to create another training for that too. The flex assignments are phenomenal. And we were creating PDs this summer on how to teach teachers to use it in their classrooms with blended learning and workshop. And now I'm tweaking how we were going to do those trainings because I feel like a lot of teachers are going to be more advanced than that, which is great. I'm really excited for that. So I'll still have those beginner trainings, but now we can
absolutely
ahead.
Yeah, it's great. The supplements never hurt. So it's just, it's so good that people are using all these skills. And we've been doing videos all week, and next week we have a whole new lineup of videos coming out, and it's just such a great time. And so many people jumping in next week that they're fighting for space on this.
I was late to the game. I didn't even think to check.
It's amazing. You've played catch up so well. And you're making the videos in that. They put the link out to your guys' Google Classroom for people to come in and talk about this. So it's just a great resource you guys are giving. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, have a wonderful wonderful Friday, everybody, and happy Easter. And I'm really hoping for it to get warm again because those people that had their air conditioning on, I have my heat on. I want the 80s back.
Definitely needed it this morning. It was cool.
I had ice on my plants. I hope they make it. I forgot to cover them last night.
I think I saw snow in the forecast for next week.
No. It's snowing in Buffalo and Pennsylvania right now, but I show them my sunshine and pretend like it's really warm.
We can act like it's warm because it's real pretty out.
Right. It is pretty.
All right. Thank you, Summer.
Thanks for the support.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Up next, we have our library and media specialists, Janet Lanham and Sarah O'Hare. Going to be talking about how your librarian can support you through NTI and help you with your planning and finding all those crazy resources out there right now and the most appropriate ones. So, Ms. Lanham, Ms. O'Hare, are you ladies ready?
We are ready.
All right. I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, I'm Sarah O'Hare,
the web content librarian, and this is Janet Lanham, our instructional resource librarian, and we're both happy to be here on a Friday afternoon, last afternoon for the week. And I just want to echo for just a second about what Summer was talking about with all of the learning that's taking place. We've already found ways that we've changed the way we're doing things right now, and we've already made connections for how this can help when we're back in the buildings. And so I really think it's going to change the way we teach and is really broadening our scope of ways that we can do things. So that's already been great. So today we're going to take a look at some online resources. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And here we go. All right. And we're going to start here on the Public School Digital NTI page. And we're going to enter today through the NTI Student Toolkit. And I'm going to show you a way to access your school library LibGuide. And scrolling down, you'll see additional apps and resources. And here we see free online books and resources with the two little books as an icon. Perfect for libraries. And when we click on that link, you'll see here that we have a preview page that shows some of the resources that are available to our schools throughout this NTI time. I'm going to click here and open this link. And this brings us to the landing page for all of the school library LibGuides. It's fairly it's simple to get to, but there are written directions on the right that'll take you through step by step. There's also a Screencastify walking you through how to access your school's LibGuide. And we're going to stay here on the high school page. You're looking for a middle school LibGuide, you can click on the second tab, or elementary schools are also found right here from this landing page. And I'm going to click on DOS High School. And during this time, we know that finding resources, in some ways we've been inundated with resources, and in others, it's hard to find and sort through it all. And so we've got some good ones to show you. And we're going to click on the NTI online books and resources. Now, every school library has a LibGuide, and there are a few pages that are the same for every school LibGuide. This is one of them, NTI online books and resources. So I'm going to click on that one. And I'm going to scroll down, and the first resource that I'm going to show you is Teen Book Cloud. Now, Teen Book Cloud does require, and it looks like I need to refresh my page so I get all the graphics. Teen Book Cloud does require a password, and I'm going to go ahead and come back here to Doss High School's LibGuide page to show you. Each school LibGuide also has a password protected page that has all of these passwords that we're going to show you today. Has a place for all of those to be housed. On this guide, it's on a students and staff page. And when you click on it, you'll see that it gives you a spot to enter a password. Your librarian may have already sent out this password through either email or posted it in Google Classroom for your students and staff. If you happen to have missed that, or please contact your librarian and they will be more than happy to send you that information so that you can access all of these great resources. And so on Team Book Cloud, I'm going to open it and log in. And here we'll see lots of cool books that I think our high school and middle school students will be excited to have access to. This shows recently added titles, shows a whole section on graphic novels, which are really popular. Enhanced books are books that have a narration available as well as the text for the book. And as the narrator is reading, it highlights line by line on the text so that students can follow along. Then we see a fiction section, nonfiction, drama and poetry, and even some videos. I'm going to come back up here to the fiction section. And the great thing about Teen Book Cloud is that the books that we see here are available 24/7 and are available for as many students as want to read a particular title at a time. So our public library has a great selection of ebooks, but they only have a particular number of copies. And if those are already checked out, then you have to wait on a hold list. Here at Teen Book Cloud, these books are available immediately as long as you have internet access. And so they have a great selection of books here for our students to read anytime. So when I click on a book, we'll see a summary. And then over on the right, we'll also see the reading AR level, the grade appropriate level, and Lexile. Gives us a few keywords if you're looking for particular topics. And then to read, it's as simple as clicking read online. And here I'll see the text. In order to move from one page to another, I can just click on the advance button. And when I'm finished reading, I can bookmark the page so that the next time that I come back to this title, I can click and it will take me right back to where I left off. So Teen Book Cloud, it would be a great resource for you to share with your students. And I also want to take the opportunity to say, if you are looking for a particular genre of books to guide your students towards, or if you can tell your librarian books that your students have really liked, your librarian would be more than happy to try to curate a list and direct your students towards particular ebooks that are available in a source from a resource like this. Another one that's similar to Teen Book Cloud is Audiobook Cloud. And in Audiobook Cloud, when I get to the landing page, you'll see that these are good also for adults. I'm going to click here on the YA section and take a look here. And we'll see that there are a lot of titles, and these are all the same as Teen Book Cloud, always available, as many copies as there are students that would like to read them. And so I'm going to click on a title. And we'll see that here it gives a little brief synopsis also. It's broken down into tracks. And in order to play it, I just hit the word play. When I'm finished listening to the book, I can set a bookmark. And so the same as Teen Book Cloud, this will keep my spot so that the next time that I come back, I can pick up right where I left off. So coming back to our LibGuide, DOS High School's LibGuide, if you happen to see another resource today that you don't find on your own school's LibGuide and you would like to see that resource on your school's LibGuide, or if you've come across great resources that you think would be beneficial for your whole school to see on their library LibGuide, please email your librarian and have them take a look at them. I'm sure this is a great opportunity for some collaboration to take place. So the next resource that I'm going to briefly show you, and I'm excited to say that next week we'll be able to dive in a little bit deeper with some other Gale resources. Today I'm going to briefly show you one particularly neat feature. So I'm going to click on Gale Resources. And this one also has a password that is found on that same password protected page where your librarian has the keys to that kingdom and would be happy to share it with you. All of the high school and middle schools have the same resources available to them. You'll notice in both that there's a middle school Gale in Context and a high school Gale in Context. Those are broad categories. You can see the little description underneath. Very similar to the way an encyclopedia would be with the types of resources or topics that are available there. We're going to click into one today that's a little bit more specific called Global Issues. Uh-oh. And here, I guess I've timed out, so I'm going to type in my password and sign in. And then here we go. We are in. And so with Global Issues, you'll see the issues of interest is giving information about the novel coronavirus, COVID-19. And so there is a lot of misinformation out there about the coronavirus. And so this would be a great place to direct your students to find out information that has been vetted and for them to gain some context on this particular topic. I'm going to scroll down and we see Browse Issues. And any place that you see an updated button next to it just means that it's been recently updated and Gale has been hard at work to keep things current, to keep issues current. Gale is the gold standard for information. All of the information that we'll find here has been vetted. And so when you send your students to Gale to get information, or you yourself come here searching for information to share with your students, this really is the place where we can model being good consumers and producers of information. So here in Global Technology Issues, I chose this topic because we are all using and relying on technology even more than we have before. And so you'll see it broken down on what kind of content sources they have. They always curate some featured content, and we'll see viewpoints and reference biographies of people who are pertinent to this particular topic. Primary sources. So as we try to show students how to read primary sources and gain information from them, Gale already has some curated. We have audio clips, videos, magazines, news articles, academic journals, websites. It's all right here, already put together by topic for you. I'm going to go into this overview. I'm going to click Read More. And before I go any farther, I'm going to make sure and click my sign in with Google. And because I've already signed in on my computer, it was as quick as just clicking that button. And as I scroll down, you'll notice that in addition to giving an overview, it also breaks it down and gives students main ideas, gives them background information, and even has some critical thinking questions. And every resource in Gale has a spot for source citation, whether it's an image or a video. And so students can easily incorporate their source citation into any projects that you have them working on. So if I wanted to take this article and send it to my Google Classroom, all I need to do is click the little classroom icon up at the top of the page. And it'll pop open a Share to Classroom button. I can choose the class and then choose an action. So the same actions that you see in Google Classroom, you'll see right here. So I'm going to choose Make an Announcement for this one. And if I wanted my students to read this article and answer one of those critical thinking questions by sometime next week, I can post that right here. And I could finish typing up the sentence and post. And just like in Google Classroom, if I'm not ready for it to post just yet and I'm planning, I can always schedule when it's going to post and choose when I want it to appear in my classroom, Google Classroom stream. So Gale has so many ways that it can be used during this time of online learning. And we are very excited as a district for the Library Media Services Department to be able to offer this resource to every school in the district, not just during NTI, but long after NTI is over, being hopeful that we will not be using NTI solely for very long. And so I'm going to come back and stop my screen sharing. All right. And so we're just excited to be able to show you these resources. And we're also excited that next week we have all new content coming for you. And so we hope that you tune back in at, I believe it's at 2:30 next week also. So we're excited to be back in that time slot.
Okay, I almost got caught with my microphone muted. I've done so many Zooms this week, and Friday afternoon I got busted. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Alrighty.
And so I'm going
to start with just the handout that came with this course. I just want to show you, we have a couple of quick links, but you'll see how to find it through the regular portals. But also down here, this link for Library Media Services Department will take you to the District Support Handbook. And as you're listening to all of the district support people this week, you might scroll up and down over here to their departments, but we're going to take a look at our page. And as soon as I can get it to zoom a little bit, you'll see all of our contact information for your district librarians and leadership. And then up to the top here are also some live links to different things that might come in handy for you during your NTI work. So we're going to close that out. Just wanted to share that about our little handbook. And we're going to go back to the NTI portal. And in the student toolkit, but actually I'm going to take you back to the teacher toolkit. And we are going to look at, I'm doing this a little bit out of order today just because I need to mix it up some. Teaching and learning, because that's where library media will be. and you will find over here a link to Library Media Services. And on this page, we have curated some of those resources that Sarah was talking about for you to collaborate with your librarians. We've done it by elementary, by middle, and by high. And in each one, we have separated it out into the content areas, and we've tried to limit this so it's not overwhelming and provide you still with a good set of quick and easy links to find some good instructional resources for you during NTI. So there is that. Let's go back. We'll go to the support page. And this time you can go in either through NTI students or parents. You'll find that same landing page that Sarah was telling you about. It's right here with the library books. And again, we'll click through from the preview page. And now this is where you can find either your high school, your middle school, or your elementary school. And I'm going to go to elementary. And I kind of got busted this week because I've been doing Zachary Taylor all week long. And I'll tell you why. It's because I thought as I'm presenting, it would be easier for me to either pick the first or the last. And if I pick the last, then I get to show off every other school LibGuide on my way down to the bottom. But since I got busted for always using Zachary Taylor, and I do love Zachary Taylor and our librarian there, Carrie Matija, I'm going to pick on height today because our librarian there sent me an amazing choice board today. So Stephanie, your reward is to get picked on. But I'm going to show you the same resources. Access is the same to all of these, whether you're at elementary, middle, or high. You're going to come to your school's LibGuide, and the second tab on every LibGuide will be these online books and resources. And as Sarah said, some of them have usernames and passwords posted, but I'm going to show you one that is kind of private, and you'll have to get the secret password from your school librarian. Okay, so this takes us to teachingbooks.net, which is a multimedia database that provides curated resources for thousands and thousands and thousands of titles. And it was created actually, I guess about 10 years ago now, to sort of level the playing field, because research shows that when kids interact with authors and illustrators, the readership in those schools goes up. But not every school can afford to bring an author and illustrator for a visit. So what teachingbooks.net has done is brought illustrators, gone into illustrator studios and videotaped them, and the same with author visits, so that students can now have virtual author visits. This page that we've got linked comes to a complete books and poems collection where there are complete book and poem readings. Yesterday, there were 1,120. Today, there are 1,175. So they're adding to this all of the time. But there are a lot of other things that teachingbooks.net has to offer besides just these read alouds. However, we thought during NTI, this is a good landing spot. You can curate and search, narrow your search through grade level, by curricular area, if you're looking to collaborate with a content area teacher, or a content area teacher would like to find particular books in their area. If you're looking for some diverse titles, and if you're looking for a particular kind of format, either audio, video, or text. And then you'll see lots and lots and lots of resource types. And another thing I've been doing this week is sharing a bad case of stripes because we are under quarantine, but I want to show you something different today. So up here in teachingbooks.net, you can search by author, title, keyword, and I'm going to use an author. Oh, good. Looking for Robert Sabuta's book on dinosaurs. It comes right up. And this is one of my favorites because it has one of the Meet the Author movies that teachingbooks.net is rather famous for. It's about 4 minutes long. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I'm going to skip through just to show you how engaging it is for students. And I'm going to turn the volume up. Whoops. Thanks for telling me. I'm going to take it off. I don't know why I'm not hearing that, but we'll move on. But this one, when the kids watch it at home, it shows all how they can do a pop-up book, which all of the kids I've ever used it with have absolutely loved. So we're going to go on back and take a look at the other resources that are with this book. So first of all, we have 19 total resources for this. It's won 2 awards. We can take a look at the text level. And we've already seen some of the original resources, but there are several more. This one is a little skimpy. We usually have way more book guides and activities with this, but I'm going to show you, and this is one of those activity kits where kids can actually make their own little pop-up card. But teachingbooks.net provides a way for you, if you open an educator account, to be able to create your own lessons. So we're going to click on this, create a lesson. And it's differentiated a bit, level 1, level 2, and level 3. And it tells you what each of those levels includes. We're going to create a level 3 lesson. You can give it a description for your students. And it will have these customizable sections. And then you can type in your questions. Any additional information you put here will only show up in your educator account. Your students won't see that, but if you want to make yourself some notes there, and then you save it. And we come here to, and you see I was doing bad case of stripes earlier. So we're going to download to distribute and pop it open. And this is what you will have that you can upload to your course. It would have the questions that you filled in too, and directions that you can upload to your Google Classroom. And then when we close that back, they have also provided some distribution tips, which you can either copy and paste or just share with your students in your Google Classroom about how to use these images. The other thing I'm going to show you in teachingbooks.net, because we have you landing on that read aloud page, but I wanted you to see that it can be translated into many, many different languages. This is National Poetry Month. You can see all of these resources, over 12,000 read-along audiobooks. They have got them curated into sections. So if you wanted to look at poetry for April, for Poetry Month, you could. Many, many, many resources here for teachingbooks.net, including these wonderful author videos that they've created. So that, in a nutshell, is teachingbooks.net, and the directions for how to support your, oops, I'm going to the wrong one. Let me go to, might not have ours open again still. But we have on the page that I showed you the link from your original handout. Will take you to our page where we have directions in the FAQ box about using your or creating your educator account. And so that's it for us for this week, I guess. And thank you. I'm so proud of all of our district librarians. I've seen their Google Classrooms. I've seen their
choice boards. I've heard of the collaborations they're doing and the support they're providing, and they're working so hard on social media to keep connected to their students. So we're thrilled, and thank you to our digital innovation family for having us this week.
Yes, thank you for providing the platform for all of us to come to one central place and get those resources and help and show people things that are available to them. Thank you for providing the space.
Yes.
No problem, and thank you. I mean, librarians, obviously the masters of information, digital and otherwise, so you guys are, once again, so valuable right now, and that we have those in the buildings. Use those resources out there. I mean, it's just great. It is an awesome way to end the Friday, end the week for that. So thank you, ladies, for being here. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so the last meeting we have for the week will be once again be a meet that is on Zoom. If you go to the jcps.me/NTI and you click on the teacher toolbox and then you click on the live schedule, if you go to the bottom of the page on Friday, you will see the supporting parents through NTI, and that is a Zoom call. If you click on the little Zoom word, it will bring you a link. You can click on the link and it will take you to the Zoom meet. So go there, click on that. Make sure you've already subscribed to our channel if you haven't, because we will be back all next week with new shows going over all kinds of NTI content for you. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy your Good Friday.